Donald Trump is facing this legal heat from several directions, and we are joined, as mentioned, by Michael Cohen, the former personal attorney and Trump Organization vice president. I'm going to tell you exactly why he's here and more, but let me also tell you everything that we're balancing. You have the Attorney General making this massive fraud case. We're going to get to that because, as mentioned, Mr. Cohen, in public, to Congress, and here at times on the beat, has laid out some of the case that led to that. But we're actually going to begin with the story we haven't hit yet tonight. And that is Donald Trump's other big problem down in Florida around what are, according to the Justice Department, stolen top secret documents. Now, Trump has Truth Social and he speaks in certain ways, but he gave a more lengthy television interview, which he actually has not done lately. You may remember when we talked about some of the Fishers over at Fox News. He hadn't done one of these in a while. So he spoke with Sean Hannity, making a range of claims. Some might work for PR, but were not 100% true. Others were bizarre and would probably get dunked on in court, like the idea that a president can formally declassify top secret documents, which can involve human intelligence and spies' lives or deaths. A president might be able to do that just by thinking it.
A president has the power to declassify.
Correct.
Okay. You had said on Truth Social a number of times you did declassify.
I did declassify, yes.
Okay. Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it, because you're sending it to Mar-a-Lago or to wherever you're sending it. And there doesn't have to be a process. There can be a process, but there doesn't have to be. You're the president. You make that decision. So when you send it, it's declassified. I declassified everything.
Now, there was a lot sandwiched in there. I'm going to play just the key part. And if you were doing an interview and you were independent or objective, you would ask someone, I don't care what party they're in or anything else, if somebody says this, you would follow up and say, did you just say that thinking is the way you declassify it? Which raises the question, how would anyone else outside your brain know? Take a listen.
If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
Think about all of it. We are joined, as mentioned, by Michael Cohen. He is the host of the Mea Culpa podcast and the author of the soon-to-be-released Revenge, How Donald Trump Weaponized the U.S. Department of Justice Against His Critics. That's coming October 11th. And Michael, as you may know, sometimes the books we mention do okay here, so people can go learn about your book. Welcome back to The Beat.
Good to see you, Ari.
We're going to get into all of it, more than one thing, including the case that I mentioned you sparked. But first, your reaction to what we just heard from the president,
you know,
the former president.
Watching him on Hannity, it actually saddens me because it's so ridiculous. I mean, he was always odd and he was always different. He was an enigma. But this is just nuts. And there's no way to describe it. I'm thinking it, therefore it is. You know who has that sort of ideology? A king, a monarch, a dictator, a supreme leader. I thought it, therefore I can do it. It almost reminds me of like in the Ten Commandments. Remember Ramses? So it has been said, so it shall be done. He's able to declassify things with his mind. It's truly an amazing thing. I personally think that there's something wrong.
Well, shout out to the Ramses reference.
Yes.
You know, Sunday school, perhaps.
That's correct.
When you did work for him, did people play along with this kind of thing? It's almost like, to pick a less important example, someone thinks they ordered coffee. The waiter says, oh, no, you only ordered eggs. You didn't order coffee. But some waiters go, oh, I must have not heard your order, because that's how they kind of smooth through it. And on little things, it may not matter. Is that the style, or does this remind you of how he was when you worked for him?
No, this is a whole nother level of insanity. Yes, he would turn around and say, to the girls, get me a Coke. And he would yell it out. He wouldn't turn around and try to do it through telepathy, right? I mean, that's basically what he's saying here. Through telepathic powers, I have the ability to declassify top secret documents. And it's really scary that he's even able to find time on anything other than his own Truth Social network within which to pass this nonsense.
Then they went back and forth about the FBI. He has been all over that issue, at times really speaking in ridiculously offensive or even dangerous ways. But then he tries, as you know, to sometimes bring it back. So here's an exchange about the FBI.
I really believe that most of the people within the FBI, out of the top groups, most of the people in the FBI, they probably voted for Trump. I don't want to have anybody hurt.
What do you hear there?
Again, Donald playing the victim. Boo-hoo, right? Let's all sit there and cry. The FBI raided him with a valid warrant. What else did he say about the FBI? I think they may have planted the documents. I mean, this is the stuff that, oh, he doesn't care if they're Republican and Democrats, but if they obviously voted for me, I don't want them to get hurt. He doesn't care about anyone. It's all, again, self-serving. Everything that he does is self-serving. The fact that he took documents, that's a crime. But then he didn't take them, but he did. And then they do a warrant, they take it, then they find all of these blank jackets of top secret information. We know one is definitively nuclear. We don't know which country. For all you know, it could be Israel, and it could have been given to Mohammed bin Salman. Now I'm hypothesizing.
Well, yeah, you don't know that.
Of course not, but I'm just using it as an example. You know why I don't know? Because nobody knows. And the point is, we're not supposed to know.
Right.
That's the whole point. We're not supposed to have this conversation, Ari, about what top secret documents this lunatic took from the White House against the Presidential Records Act, hid in the basement. That we're not supposed to be thinking about things like this.
Because exactly, it's a level of danger that you shouldn't have from someone who had that job. The last one on this, and then we're going to turn to James, where I really want to get your latest views. But at one point, Hannity starts to wonder whether Trump was suggesting that Trump, secretly had Hillary Clinton's emails. I know it sounds hard to follow. After you watch this clip, it won't be any easier to follow, but here we go.
There's also a lot of speculation because of what they did, the severity of the FBI coming and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Were they looking for the Hillary Clinton emails that were deleted, but they are around someplace? Were they looking for the spying on Trump's?
You're not saying you had it.
No, they may be saying, they may have thought that it was in there.
Okay.
And a lot of people said the only thing that would give the kind of severity that they showed by actually coming in and raiding with many, many people is the Hillary Clinton deal.
Did he land that Hillary Clinton jujitsu or not?
No. It's typical Donald Trump deflection. It's never me. It's not the fact that I gave back a box. I had my lawyer attest to the fact that there were no more at Mar-a-Lago. They somehow figure out that there is documents still there. They get a valid search warrant. They execute it through the FBI. They come in, and guess what? They took documents that he wasn't supposed to have on top of that in unsecured location. And this is a real serious problem because it jeopardizes our national security. And that's a problem when you have a president that truly doesn't want to be the president. He wants to be the king.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber. Thanks for watching The Beat. I wanted to let you know I'm writing a foreword to the January 6th committee's full report, which is coming out soon from HarperCollins. You can go pre-order the book right now, and it'll come to you first when the report comes out in the fall or whenever the government releases it. Just search Melber Jan 6th on Amazon or your favorite independent book site and click pre-order. You'll be the first to get both the report and my new piece on the coup conspiracy. You can also go to melberbook.com and order it there.